There are a lot of myths out there about passive income, and they're probably holding some people back from making real money. They're also probably getting some people to spend money on things that don't make any sense for growing their business. So let's talk about it. Hey everybody, this is Roberto Blake of RobertoBlake.com, helping you create something awesome today. Welcome to another video about entrepreneurship. As a creative entrepreneur, somebody who's in the creative space, somebody who doesn't want you to be a starving artist, there are a lot of things that I could say about passive income, and some of them will be things you've heard before, some of them will not. But today, what I really want to focus on is some of the myths about passive income, some of the misinformation that's out there, but I also want to give a little bit of a message to people who are skeptical about this. There are a lot of people who think that any form of passive income that specifically isn't focused on real estate or investments, things that, their grandparents probably told them about, is a scam or is not truly passive. And again, we're using the modern interpretation that the general public understands with regard to passive income. So let me kind of put that into context for some of you. For the sake of this conversation, it's important to understand what active income is. Active income would be being a cameraman and getting paid once to show up and film on set all day. By comparison, passive income is making a video course on content creation, video production techniques, or video editing, making that, putting in the effort for 2 months to develop that product, putting it up for sale, and generating revenue from selling that product for the next 2 years, and then maybe making an update to that product or a new version and selling that and doing the same thing over and over and benefiting and taking in cash from work you did 2 years ago. Another easy example is the fact that I have a YouTube video that I filmed in May of 2016 that still makes me on average about $250 every single month after I already filmed that a year ago. These are forms of passive income. This is income that comes from work that's already been previously done versus work you have to show up and do today. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, I think we can have a productive conversation, and let me address 5 myths about passive income that are probably holding you back. Let's get number 1 out of the way. Passive income is not about you just making money in your sleep. It's not a way for you to be lazy, and people who want and desire to make passive income are not lazy, entitled people who don't want to work for a living. The far majority of successful entrepreneurs build passive income as part of a revenue diversity strategy that allows them not only financial freedom, but freedom in their life. It's not about them sitting on the beach with martinis. It's about the fact that maybe they want to start a family. It's about the fact that maybe there are other business ventures that they want to do, or maybe they have a bigger life purpose or mission that they want to fulfill, but they also know that that requires and takes money to finance it. So they create revenue streams that are much more scalable because they scale in a way that's built on a system instead of built on their own individual labor. In other words, passive income is wildly practical. Myth number 2, anybody can just decide to start making passive income. This is an awkward thing because I think the issue here is that people make the mistake of conflating what's accessible with what is easy, and they're not the same thing. In theory, anybody can pick up a smartphone and make YouTube videos. What that doesn't mean is that anybody can be successful on YouTube. It actually takes a level of skill with production and editing. It might take on-camera charisma. It might take understanding the platform itself. That's not necessarily something that everybody is going to be capable of doing in a reasonable amount of time. It may not be something that everybody has the energy or talent to invest into. So I would say that while YouTube and this platform is wildly accessible, it's not the same thing as saying that it's easy to do or to do well. Passive income, entrepreneurship, certain career fields, it's the same thing. Just because someone can get easy access to this or to the information doesn't mean that their execution of it will be successful. That's just the way it is. Myth number 3, passive income is income you make without working. Nope, not true. Again, let's clarify. If you're thinking about active income, you might show up, work today, get paid today. You might show up, work a couple of days, get paid in 2 weeks, whatever. But With passive income, you'd have to be able to build a system, which means that it's something that is going to take a lot of work over a period of time, but once the system is in place, you can continue to benefit and gain value. This is why it's not something that, everybody could do. I would argue that a service-based active income business in the form of freelancing is probably more accessible and easier in terms of the threshold to being successful than trying to build a system. Because again, building a system can get very complicated depending on what you're trying to achieve or what market you're trying to serve. So again, this isn't something that you can just decide to approach in a very lazy fashion and think that it will work. So I would say that it's a myth that passive income is something that you can just snap your fingers and do. And it's not a lack of working hard, it's a combination of working hard and working smart. Putting a system in place, for example, being able to build a digital product also would require you to have a marketing strategy behind it. It might require you to understand advertising. You might have to market and promote it. This means that you still have to do work at some point. It just means that the work is much more scalable than you doing something like, for example, shooting a wedding and then having to process those photos in Lightroom and then deliver those and design a photo album, etc., etc. You could put the same amount of time and effort into building a system, and once the system is in place, you can continue to make money, and for a minimal amount of effort, you can probably continue to scale that money. Myth number 4, passive income is just a scam. Here's the thing, I'm not selling you a course on how to make passive income online. This information is free. Roberto, you're gonna make money, passive income off the YouTube ads, right? Less than you think. Especially now after something we affectionately call the adpocalypse. Advertising pricing rates are probably lower than they've been for, well, everybody on the platform, but I do okay. The reason people are skeptical about passive income and think it's a scam is because it sounds too good to be true. But the reality is that it's something that most businesses are already doing. Whenever you buy an app from the App Store, there's a product developer who isn't having to get up and do that same amount of work building that product over and over again every time you buy it, right? They already built that product. At best, they might need to update it. You're feeding their coffers. If they have ads running in that app, you're feeding their coffers every time you play the app. Every time you make a microtransaction or an in-app purchase, you are feeding them via passive income. So again, it's wildly practical and it's not a scam. It's just that a lot of people, again, feel it's too good to be true. Every time that you purchase a book that someone wrote years and years ago, they get something called royalties. That's a form of passive income. They've already written the book. The work's already done. They're not having to get up and write another book today if they really don't want to. So again, it's not a scam. It's just that it feels too good to be true, so people ignore it. The reason that they feel like, oh, well, real estate, that's for sure passive income. Again, it's something they understand. It's something that's been established. They understand that investments and things like that, there's an old mentality that's established that says that that's what success looks like. And we have a new age of people who they've taken that into the digital world. They've figured out things that are much more accessible for what their skills and what their availability is. Not everyone has the money to invest into a real estate property. Not everybody is going to know how to build a really robust portfolio and buy into the right ETF or mutual fund or what have you. So again, there are things that are much more accessible to the everyday person that can allow them new opportunities and financial freedom and to make money over the long term that just weren't there for people 15 or 20 years ago. As a result, there are just some people who don't respect it the same way. That doesn't make it any less valid, and it certainly doesn't make it any less profitable. Finally, myth number 5. This is the last one. There are people who believe that it is impossible to make passive income if you don't have a big audience or if you're not internet famous and things of that nature. And I'd just say that's not true. That thinking is fundamentally flawed because making any kind of money isn't built on how many people you know, it's built on how many people you sell. So transactionally, even if you have an audience of 100 people, 1,000 people, depending on what you're charging, you could make a lot of money, whether it's active income or passive income, from a very small amount of people if the value is right and if the price point is right. So again, don't think you have to have a huge following to make money from passive income. You can make thousands of dollars on tens of sales. It's just a matter of what the value of what you offer is and how you present it and how it converts. That's all it really comes down to. So I hope this helped you guys understand passive income a lot better. If you have questions, leave those in the comment section. There's also a lot of other videos that can actually help you make passive income online on this channel. There are other things that maybe if you want to make active income, you can learn a skill from some of the software tutorials. And I also cover a lot of stuff on freelancing. So maybe you guys want to check that out if you're just not ready to build a system just yet. Like this video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the other awesome content on the channel. As always, you guys, thanks so very much for watching, and don't forget, go out there, create something awesome today. Take care.